Hello, this is a 2009 Trailblazer. This is what I've done to it. I pulled the motor out of it because somebody had ran into something and punched a hole in the oil pan and blew the motor up. As you can see, uh, everything has been disconnected. See the power steering pump laying there, brain box up there tied up. This the air conditioner line that's been disconnected, which you do have to do that. You see, if you see that little line right there, that's a fuel line that's been disconnected. Starter's laying back there, tied back. The motor's really easy to pull out. You need 15 millimeter socket, 6-foot extension to get the bell housing bolts out from the top. The very top are really hard to get to, but they're not really tremendously. You ain't got much room. You got to get a 6-foot extension with a 15 millimeter socket, 15 millimeter for the torque converter. As you see, there's 3 bolts there. There is a stud bolt that goes through the starter that is a 6 millimeter, which is really simple. I took it out with a 1/4-inch ratchet and a 6 millimeter wrench. You have to take the motor mounts off of the side of the frame rail on both sides. You can leave your motor mounts on the block itself, which I do have another motor to go in it, same motor with 30,000 miles on it. You do sometimes you do have to pull the axles, like I did on this one. I pulled the axles out of the transaxle out of the front, which are really easy. If you have an axle puller, they're really easy to pull out. It's not really difficult to get the motor out if you listen to mine. You do have to have it up on stands, as I will show you here. There's a stand there, a stand on the other side. I also have a stand underneath the transmission with a block because of the pans are aluminum, so I put a stand underneath. I will explain to you this. When you pull the motor out of this, you do have to have a jack with a piece of block under the oil pan to jack the motor up to get the motor mounts off of the frame rail. If you don't, I don't want you to get hurt, but I use a floor jack, and it's not that difficult. I used a cherry picker to pull this motor out, and this next weekend I will be putting the motor right back in it and getting it all strapped back up in and running again. You do have to take the front clip, the headlight assembly panel off to get the motor out. 4 bolts. There's one right there in the fender skirt. There's one there on each side to get the bolts out, as you can see. I think there's a pin bracket right there. There's like a 15 millimeter. I don't think that's a 15. I think that's a 13 millimeter there and there on both sides. These are 13s also, coming up here. Right there are 13s on both sides, and that whole piece comes out in one piece, and the whole assembly comes out, and you can pull the motor out. The motor has been setting out for about a week now. I work weird hours, so I'm kind of new at this, but As far as mechanical work, I've done it all my life. And this is an excellent chance for if somebody wants to change motors, they can definitely go to any size motor in these. Matter of fact, I'm putting a 3.9 back in there with using the same transmission. Like I said, there's not too much of a difference between them, but hey, it works. And as you can see, everything is it's really tight to get the motor in, but once you get the motor in, you'll be in tremendous shape. Thanks. Have a good day. Don't work too hard. It, like I said, 15 millimeter, 13 millimeter, 12 millimeter. Uh, there is a 11 millimeter if you want to take these fittings off. It's 11 millimeter. But other than that, you got 22 millimeter or 18 millimeter for your motor mounts and your axle platings. They're 18. Really, not that bad. The exhaust manifolds are 15. Mostly all the bolts are either 15s, 12s, 13s, 11s, and a 6 millimeter on the one on the starter bolt, which you do have to take out because it goes into the bell housing. And I believe the motor mounts are 22. That's all you need as far as wrenches and sockets. The motor mounts, you will have to use a wrench to get those out. Other than that, it'll go back together on its own. Thank you and have a good day.